The African space industry is experiencing a silent but powerful revolution. Across the continent, engineers, scientists, and policymakers are looking to the skies for solutions to problems on the ground. Satellite internet is emerging as a game changer for a continent long plagued by connectivity gaps. From the deserts of Namibia to the rainforests of the Congo, the dream of universal internet access is coming closer to reality. For decades, much of Africa lagged behind in digital infrastructure development. Traditional fiber optic cables and terrestrial towers were expensive to install and maintain. Rural regions were often excluded from major digital rollouts. A lack of investment, political instability, and geographic challenges made expansion difficult. But satellites don't need to lay cable or build towers. They beam connectivity from space, covering vast areas with little ground infrastructure. This makes satellite internet particularly attractive to Africa. Countries like Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Egypt are now investing in space-based technologies. Private companies and international collaborations are also joining the movement. Entrepreneurs from Lagos to Kigali are developing satellite-driven solutions. From weather monitoring to agricultural planning, the applications are endless. But among the most impactful uses is internet access. As of 2023, nearly 60% of Africans were still offline. This digital divide limits education, healthcare, commerce, and opportunity. Satellite internet has the potential to bridge this divide. Low Earth orbit (LEO) satellites are central to this transformation. Unlike older satellites in geostationary orbit, LEO satellites orbit closer to Earth. This allows them to deliver faster, more reliable internet. Companies like Starlink and OneWeb have deployed thousands of LEO satellites. These constellations provide global coverage, including Africa. In remote villages with no existing infrastructure, people are going online for the first time. A student in rural Malawi can now attend an online university course. A farmer in Ethiopia can access up-to-date market prices. A small business in Senegal can sell handmade goods globally. Satellite internet is democratizing access to knowledge and opportunity. But the African space race is not just about foreign companies beaming down service. African nations are launching their own satellites. GhanaSat-1, launched in 2017, was Ghana's first satellite. It was built by university students and symbolized a turning point. Since then, many countries have followed suit. Angola's AngoSat-2, Nigeria's NigeriaSat series, and Ethiopia's ETERISAT-1 are key examples. These satellites perform various functions, from Earth observation to weather forecasting. Some are designed specifically for communication. African engineers are gaining expertise in satellite design and operation. Space agencies across the continent are growing. The African Union is pushing for continental coordination. The African Space Agency, headquartered in Cairo, aims to unite regional efforts. Its mission is to ensure space technologies serve Africa's development goals. Satellite internet fits perfectly into that vision. Education is one of the biggest beneficiaries. Thousands of schools across Africa lack stable internet. Students often rely on outdated textbooks and limited resources. With satellite connectivity, they can access the world's knowledge. Teachers can enhance lessons with multimedia and real-time content. Students can connect with peers worldwide. Healthcare also stands to gain immensely. Telemedicine becomes possible in rural clinics. Doctors can consult specialists hundreds of kilometers away. Digital medical records can be stored and accessed securely. Epidemics can be tracked in real time. With better data and communication, health outcomes improve. Commerce is another frontier. Small and medium enterprises, SMEs, are the backbone of African economies. But many operate without digital tools. With satellite internet, businesses can move online. They can advertise on social media and sell through e-commerce platforms. Mobile banking and digital payments become easier. Entire communities can access financial services for the first time. Governments benefit from improved connectivity too. Public services can be digitized. Corruption can be reduced with better transparency. Citizens can engage with their leaders through digital platforms. E-governance becomes a reality, even in remote areas. Satellite internet also plays a critical role in disaster management. Natural disasters like floods, droughts, and wildfires often strike unexpectedly. With satellite data and connectivity, response times can be shortened. Aid can be directed to the right places faster. Lives can be saved. Satellite imagery can also help with long-term planning. Urbanization, deforestation, and water management are major issues. Governments can make data-driven decisions. They can monitor environmental changes and adapt accordingly. Despite these advantages, challenges remain. Satellite internet is still expensive for many Africans. The cost of terminals and subscriptions is often prohibitive. Efforts are underway to subsidize access for low-income communities. Governments and NGOs are experimenting with different models. Public Wi-Fi zones powered by satellite are being tested. Community centers and schools are among the first targets. As infrastructure improves and scale increases, costs are expected to fall. Another challenge is spectrum regulation. Each country has different rules governing satellite communication. Harmonizing policies across the continent is crucial. The African Union is working on a unified regulatory framework. Local capacity building is equally important. Launching a satellite is only the first step. Maintaining and leveraging space infrastructure requires skilled personnel. African universities are expanding STEM education. International partnerships offer training and knowledge exchange. Young Africans are increasingly seeing careers in space tech as viable. This is vital for sustainability. The African space industry must be led by Africans. Cultural and linguistic diversity is also a factor. Solutions must be localized to serve diverse populations. Satellites offer the flexibility to broadcast in multiple languages. Content must reflect local realities. Collaborations with local developers ensure relevance. While foreign investment is welcome, ownership matters. Africa must not become merely a consumer of satellite services. It must become a producer and innovator. The continent's youth are a major asset. With the right support, they can drive the next space revolution. The global community is paying attention. International organizations are funding African space initiatives. UNESCO, the World Bank, and the African Development Bank are key players. Private donors and philanthropists are joining the effort. Tech giants are exploring partnerships. These collaborations must be equitable. Africa's space dream should be driven by African priorities. That means focusing on impact, not just prestige. Satellites that connect people matter more than satellites that impress. There is still a long road ahead. But the momentum is undeniable. What once seemed like science fiction is becoming everyday life. Internet from space is no longer a distant fantasy. It is landing on the rooftops of African homes. It is transforming classrooms and clinics. It is empowering farmers and entrepreneurs. It is giving voice to the voiceless. It is closing the gap between urban and rural. It is leveling the playing field for millions. The African space race is not about competition. It is about cooperation and connection. It is about reclaiming agency over development. It is about building a future in which no one is left behind. As satellites continue to launch and constellations grow, so does hope. Hope for a more connected, informed, and empowered Africa. Hope that the sky is no longer the limit, but the beginning. The story of Africa's space race is deeply rooted in the quest for sovereignty and self-determination. Long before the first satellite was launched from African soil, the continent had already begun dreaming of the stars. That dream was born not just from scientific curiosity, but from a pressing need to solve deeply entrenched development challenges. Africa's space journey is not about replicating the missions of NASA or ESA. It is about redefining what space means for a continent where access to electricity, education, and healthcare is still uneven. It is about using orbital technologies to overcome terrestrial barriers. In this vision, satellite internet stands as one of the most transformative tools. Before the rise of satellite-based internet systems, Africa relied heavily on undersea cables and mobile towers. These infrastructures were disproportionately concentrated in urban centers, leaving rural areas underserved or completely cut off. Satellite internet offers a decentralized alternative. It doesn't require kilometers of cable or fleets of technicians. It doesn't depend on stable roads or consistent power supplies. A dish, a modem, and a small power source are all that's needed to tap into global knowledge. That simplicity is what makes it revolutionary. For nomadic communities, remote islands, refugee camps, and highland villages, satellite internet is often the only viable option. The pandemic made the urgency of this technology even clearer. When lockdowns were imposed, digital communication became essential. Those without internet access were isolated not just physically, but intellectually and economically. Students dropped out of school. Businesses shut down or fell behind. Medical services were delayed. In that moment, connectivity was no longer a luxury. It was a lifeline. In response, governments accelerated their interest in space-based internet solutions. South Africa expanded its investment in high-speed satellite services. Nigeria signed new agreements with international space agencies. Rwanda became a notable leader, launching its own satellite and striking deals with LEO providers. The momentum built during the pandemic did not fade. It catalyzed a longer-term commitment to space technology. African countries began allocating more funds to national space programs. Public-private partnerships became more common. Startups focused on connectivity, logistics, and education emerged across the continent. The African space race had officially begun. But unlike traditional space races driven by geopolitical rivalries, this race is about inclusion. It is about who gets to participate in the global digital economy. It is about bringing the internet to the last school, the last clinic, the last farm. It is about lifting the digital veil that has long shadowed Africa. The infrastructure behind satellite internet is complex. Thousands of satellites must operate in harmony. Ground stations, data centers, and signal processors must be maintained. Yet once deployed, the system provides exponential returns. Each new satellite extends the network's reach. Each connection creates new possibilities. One connected classroom can change hundreds of lives. One connected farm can increase yields, reduce waste, and feed more people. One connected doctor can save lives. That's the power of satellite internet. It multiplies impact. To understand how transformative this is, consider the case of a village in northern Cameroon. For years, it had no reliable electricity or mobile service. Students walked kilometers to reach a cyber cafe. Telemedicine was unheard of. Then, through a pilot program, a satellite internet hub was installed. Within weeks, everything changed. The school received digital tablets. Teachers downloaded lesson plans and educational videos. A small health post was connected to a regional hospital. Patients were diagnosed remotely for the first time. A cooperative of women began selling crafts online. The village went from disconnected to dynamic. That's just one village. There are tens of thousands like it, each with untapped potential, each waiting for a signal from the sky. The scalability of satellite internet makes such transformation feasible. What once took years of infrastructure development can now be done in months. That speed is vital in a world moving faster every day. But access alone is not enough. Digital literacy must follow. Connectivity must be paired with training, tools, and support. Otherwise, the digital divide becomes a chasm. That's why many satellite internet initiatives include education components. Workshops are held to teach people how to use devices. Online safety and cybersecurity are emphasized. Young people are encouraged to code, create, and collaborate. This is how connectivity becomes empowerment. Africa's population is the youngest in the world. That demographic advantage must be paired with digital opportunity. With satellite internet, a 16-year-old in Togo can learn the same coding skills as a teenager in Tokyo. A young entrepreneur in Zambia can build an app that solves local problems. A community in Chad can stream educational videos in their own language. Technology becomes a bridge, not a barrier. But it must be locally driven. Many African innovators are stepping up. In Kenya, BRCK developed rugged Wi-Fi routers powered by solar panels. In Nigeria, Tizidi built towers that connect to satellite backhaul. In Ghana, Pharma created health platforms that run on low-bandwidth networks. These companies understand local needs and design accordingly. They are the future of African tech. They are proving that the continent doesn't just need aid, it needs access. That access is what satellite internet delivers. It is the platform upon which other technologies can thrive. Artificial intelligence, blockchain, remote sensing, and e-commerce all depend on connectivity. Without it, they remain out of reach for millions. With it, they become tools for inclusion. The African Union has recognized this. Its Agenda 2063 lays out a vision for integrated, prosperous, and connected societies. Satellite internet aligns perfectly with that goal. It supports the free movement of ideas, trade, and people. It strengthens regional cooperation. It builds resilience in the face of shocks. It reduces dependency on external infrastructure. But regional collaboration is still evolving. Some countries have advanced space programs while others are just beginning. Sharing knowledge and resources is essential. Joint satellite launches reduce costs. Common standards ensure interoperability. Collective bargaining strengthens Africa's voice in global negotiations. The African Space Agency is tasked with making this happen. It coordinates between national programs,